Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another Volusia Flagler Cares podcast. I'm your host, Kelly LaCombe. Our mission is to shine a spotlight on the courageous people, dedicated volunteers, and the bold leadership of the nonprofit organizations that serve our two-county area. Volusia Flagler Cares, what we try to do is have our guest appearances around when an event is happening or something is coming up, a fundraiser, so that we can do our best to actually be functional and give them the platform that they need. So tune in every Friday afternoon for another episode of Volusia Flagler Cares. And that brings us now to today's guest, personal friend, Miss Abby Ferguson. Hey, Abby, how you doing? Welcome to the show.
Hi, Kelly. How are you? It's great to be here.
Yeah, thanks. I'm so glad that, you filled in at the last minute and it's wonderful that you did. I want to just brag on you a little bit. You are the principal and executive director of the Chiles Academy, correct?
That is correct. Yes.
Now, does that include the Bonner Chiles Foundation?
Yeah. So the Bonner Child's Foundation, I helped found in 2016. I came on board as a director, and then we got our board up and running. We've had a couple of iterations since that time, so about 10 years. But I serve on the board of the foundation, and I am the executive director of the charter school, which is the Chiles Academy.
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
Keep it all in the family is what I say.
Yeah, lots of hats. We're real scrappy around here, so we all wear lots of hats. I have the great privilege of being the principal of the high school and the childcare director of our community childcare center. So we all want to bring every skill set we have to this position because it's a big job and it's an important job for our community. So we all pitch in and we all bring whatever we got.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I wanted you on is because I know that you can squeeze a dollar pretty hard, and you are a good steward of the money that is invested in you to be invested back into the young ladies that you teach, coach, mentor, all of that.
Yeah, we take that role really seriously. So when a community member gives a donation, or they offer up their time, or they offer up their skill set to bring something new to our campus, we never squander anything that we receive. So we want to make sure that all of the things that are offered to our community can really be offered and streamlined directly to the community as we need them. So we have lots of community partners. We have lots of areas. People in the area who want to do good and do good by the students that we serve. So just as a reminder, the Chiles Academy is a high school for pregnant and parenting students. So we have about 40 students on our roster. We'll see about 15 to 20 students a day, daily. And as you might imagine, they're starting families. They're taking care of young ones. They're pregnant. They need medical appointments, and they need baby clothes, and they need help with transportation, all sorts of things, resources that they might need to take care of themselves.
Abby, I figured we'd get to all of those different things, but first, you mentioned about that you are a high school for pregnant mothers.
Yes.
And you guys you do like a hybrid learning module. You have in the classroom, and then you have online as well, and it's all kind of blended together. Is that right?
Yeah, it's a blended learning model. That's right. So we have an online learning lab where students might be doing their work online with a platform that we use, at the same platform that the district uses. We are a public school. We're a charter school, so we can accept public students tuition free into our school system, just like any other public school would. And then we have certified teachers that deliver live classes. So we have live English classes, live math classes, live parenting classes, all of those curriculum that the students might need direct access to a teacher. We have all of those set up for her. So she might have a little bit of time online, a little bit of time with her teacher, and all of it amounts to a pretty good education overall.
Well, and then I guess, it's one thing to go through all of that, but, again, we've been friends for a while, and I know your girls kind of, almost all of them end up going on to college, but, tell us a little bit about the the college prep coursework that you guys do right there, that, it
Sure.
just keeps helping the students.
Sure. Yeah. So we look at even though some of our students are first generation high school graduates, which is a huge accomplishment for herself and for her family, we all know that a high school diploma is really just the beginning. So we always are looking towards students to look towards career pathways, certifications, post secondary programs. We have an amazing partnership with Daytona State College, where a lot of our students will go directly after graduation. And they'll go into those certification programs where they know that they'll be out anywhere
Mhm.
between 6 to 8 weeks, sometimes a little bit less than a year, with those certified skills that they need to make a little bit more money in the workplace and to be able to provide for their families. So we're
Right.
always thinking ahead, and we're always hoping that our students are finding a way to think through their survival mode, right? Because sometimes we're all just trying to get by, right? We're all living day to day.
Well,
So letting the students think about the future is a big part of what we do.
one of the things that I was able to witness, was you guys have been doing this for a while.
That's right.
And you now have people that have been through the program before kind of cycling back around and through with you guys. So
Mhm.
nobody better to give, the credibility, because again, sometimes you can get pretty much people that, not that they doubt you, but they haven't trusted anybody, you
Sure.
know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you got to break through all of that
Mhm.
and then still try to help them. And, you know,
Yeah. Absolutely. That's a huge factor in allowing the students to come into an environment that they don't know. They come from all over the district. So, and some of a misconception that some people have about our school is they assume that all the students know each other. So they come in from all sorts of different schools from all over the district, sometimes on state, depending on if the family just relocated. And they're plopped into an English class together, and with students that they don't know in an unfamiliar school. So what we do right off the bat is build trust, and we have them break down those walls so we can come together as a community. And we do all things collaboratively. So they'll have access to their teachers, to their school counselor, to me as their principal, really throughout the whole course of their education.
yeah,
And once they do trust and they do let us in, you're right. We have tons of success stories. We have students who have graduated with us, graduated from college. We have area realtors who carry our
yeah,
flag, carry our flag proudly because she was a Chiles Academy graduate and she might have children who are now graduating high school themselves. We have been around for over 20 years and we've been doing this work
yeah.
for a long time. So it's a safe haven for those students that are experiencing it right now. And it's also a place for alumni to come back and give back as well.
Well, I mean, you don't always get a chance to give back, but knowing that, knowing specifically what it means and how how to do it, there's nothing like a success story to come into your program.
That's right. That's right.
So now, speaking of success stories, you guys not only teach academics,
Hmm.
you teach childcare, but you teach like a whole life uh environment,
Hmm.
family,
Hmm.
schoolwork type of thing. It's
Yeah.
incredible how it all, again, it blends together.
Yeah, and it has to because so if a student is experiencing a pregnancy or starting a family so young, we know that she's thinking about more than just her academic credits. We want her to focus on her academic credits, but her life experiences and her current responsibilities are much greater. So we try to help the whole student and everything that she might need to be more successful. So we teach emotional regulation all the time. We do a free career readiness program because we know, right? We know that high school and middle school students all over the country, regardless of whether or not they're starting a family or they're pregnant, they're all struggling with emotional regulation. They're all struggling with how to stay in class and in community with one another.
Right, they're a
So our
bundle
students
of
are no
hormones
different.
going crazy.
Yeah, and our students are no different. And so they have all the same stressors and then even more so. So what we try to do is
Yeah,
create an
it would
environment where
have
they
to
know what
be.
to do when they feel overwhelmed.
Well, and that I think is the exact word, is that, it no matter what, it will become overwhelming, but you
Right.
need to get what do they call that? A background structure that, that's
Yeah.
behind you, so
Yep.
that, when you have those episodes and those moments, and you wish it could be easier, but the reality is that this is the road that
Right.
you're on.
Right.
So if we can smooth it out, we could do whatever, but you still got to travel it.
That's right. And so much of this work is personal responsibility. So understanding that if something feels hard and you're experiencing it in overwhelm, that there's nothing wrong with you. You're just experiencing something that's hard. So having
Right.
strategies and skills to overcome difficulty, to overcome obstacles is really the baseline of what we try to offer, because we want our students to feel self-empowered. We want them to know they have the skill set that they need to keep down a steady job, to be responsive to their boss's needs whenever they're in a career trail, to
Hmm.
be able to budget and to keep a steady roof over their head. Those are
Right.
those are accomplishments to be proud of, that any adult would be proud of. So we really start with those holistic things where it's not just about what you're doing to graduate, it's what you're doing to build a life that can support yourself and support your children.
Well, we we have some video that I'm going to be putting on here, and it kind of explains a little bit about the whole experience and everything.
The Chiles Academy really meets students at a very particular place in their life. And the Chiles Academy realizes that and takes a holistic approach to meeting all of their needs at this really critical time.
Monitoring what's happening with the girls, what's interfering with their attendance. Are they making and keeping appointments? Do they have an OBGYN? Do they have transportation? Do they have insurance?
Society thinks that all a teenager does, they freak out, they have the baby, and then life goes on. I don't think they have any idea of what's going on internally. It's really traumatizing.
You could literally see the children just relax the minute they came into the childcare environment, and they knew they were going to be safe.
It's not just the idea of walking into a childcare center. It's walking into a childcare center and seeing the childcare directors and seeing childcare workers be happy to see them,
Yeah.
and treat them with respect.
Respect.
Because that makes a huge difference.
And although we are a school and an academic program, we know that you can't teach them algebra if they slept in a car last night.
We get a chance to really get to know them and get a chance to impart some kind of wisdom, I guess you can say, on them. Because a lot of them come with their issues, and I feel like I help them with way more than just math and science.
They inspire me a lot because I see how they go through a lot and what it takes to get up every morning, get their kids ready, and come to school, and then go home, and sometimes some of them work jobs.
It's more like not only just a school, but a family. Everyone wants to see you do well. Everybody believes in you. You really grow up with not only your kids, but the other girls, and it's an experience.
It kind of made me have a different perspective in life. I've met so many strong young women, and it's like every single one of us has a different story.
We were all mothers. We all were young mothers, and we all had different stories.
I have that opportunity to actually grow and do something with my life where it was like nobody else in my family has ever been able to.
They feel as though they have a glimmer of a better life. I really feel that these young girls are really instilling in their children that school is really important, that academics will get you out of poverty.
When I found out the mission of the foundation was to help teenage mothers be able to achieve their education, to me that was near and dear to my heart, because education is the key to whatever you want to achieve in life. And when you look at the statistics, they're staggering. Only about 51% of teenage mothers do in fact graduate from high school. And without a high school degree, that's going to be a foundation to anything you need to be able to do. Not only will it impact their generation, but it will impact generations to come. Education is going to be the key. It is so important to give individuals, and especially young ladies, an opportunity to achieve whatever their dreams are in life.
Just imagine having a child, being a child, and having nowhere to stay or feeling like you're alone, and we're not. So that dollar could really help and change someone's life.
Their gift could provide so many things. Our girls need so many essentials. The beautiful thing is that when the girls are given these very basic things, it makes other things possible.
The reality of it is that the money goes to the community and to these young women and the children, the future of this community, and this community needs a good future, and it's time. It's time to bring these families out of poverty.
I'd like to help people and give back in the same sense that coming to the Chiles Academy has given to me. I just want to impact others' lives, when they need it the most. I want everyone who's in that same situation, teen parenthood, to come and be better, and it's a family, and I'm just so happy to have made it.
Yeah. So we feel really grateful to have access to that and to have that as our calling
Sure.
card. But we've also been getting some responses from some videos that other organizations have produced about our students. So we just had a student successfully go through a paid internship program with Advent Health, and that's been circulating on social media because she's now on a career track and fully working for the organization. And she's a success story that we're really proud of. So there's lots of digital presence that we're trying to kind of get out there more often, because the one thing we want to hear less of is, I had no idea your school existed. That's what we
Well,
want. We're trying to get the word out. Yeah.
unfortunately, that's the thing. I'm the same way. I'm in real estate, and I'll see, a listing go up and go, why, it should be mine.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you can only do, but now, aren't you already, how many did you say, 40 some?
Yeah, I have about 40 students on my roster. I have about 50 or 60 babies on my roster, because the babies are our students too. And that number fluctuates all throughout the year, but that's about an average. And then some of my students work remotely. Some of my students are coming from far away, so they can't come every day. So on a given day, if you were to take a tour of the Chiles Academy, you'll see around 15 to 20 students active in live classes, and lots of babies. I have a community childcare center. I have over 100 children that come here every single day.
How does that, I mean, do you actually manage that, and you're all certified? And
Yeah, so we are a DCF certified childcare center. We expanded to community care when we adopted an early Head Start grant about 10 years ago, and that grant sunset. And we were looking at what we wanted to provide for the community. So we just really leaned in hard to community care. I have rooms that serve all the way to infants to 4-year-olds in my VPK. And then if I can do a little plug, so we're enrolling for VPK for next fall. So if you're have turned 4 from before September 1st, please enroll, because we have an amazing VPK program in 2 classrooms that are vibrant and that are very exciting to be part of. It's an amazing preschool. And our community care is really good. We're celebrating 2 graduations in the next couple of weeks. So our high school girls graduate on Friday, May 8th, and it's a beautiful ceremony that we're really proud of. And look for that video. So we video it during the ceremony. We put it up on our website so people can see.
fantastic.
Just amazing.
Yeah, I did some of it a couple years ago, and
Yeah.
but I've seen the stuff you guys now have, and it's really professional. It's well done. Looks great.
Yeah. So
But I do have to say, though, that when you about your graduation, I've been to 2 of them now, and I gotta say, not that I'm a macho dude, but but man, I'll tell you what, there are moments in that graduation ceremony when you would have to be just made out of stone to not have a tear in your eye and a lump in your throat, because it is just, and not out of anything more than just, you're proud of that person.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just an unbelievably overwhelming feeling.
That's right.
gratitude, I guess.
Yeah, thank you, Kelly, for pointing that out, because even guests of the program, people that aren't, supporting a graduate directly as a family member, just sitting through the ceremony is an amazing feeling of pride in kind of the girls as human beings. They're very inspiring as human beings. They're inspiring as young women. The program itself puts kind of its accomplishments on display through the speeches that the students give. And they write those speeches and they craft them and they deliver them with such honesty and professionalism. Yeah, it's really an impressive culmination of all of the work that we put in every day. And we work towards that moment, because if we're feeling that in the crowd and if we're feeling that as the facilitators, imagine what that graduate is feeling as she is walking across the stage receiving a diploma. That might be the first diploma in that family. And that is the moment that we're all working for.
Well, bless your hearts. I mean, again, like I say, it was one thing to have found out and tried to bring, baby carriages and tricycles and all of the different things that Curtis and I were bringing. But then, when you invited us to that graduation, and we really kind of got a little bit more, dropping off stuff is great. And I hope people do that. New stuff, get it, bring it over.
Yeah.
But over and above that, if you can get a chance to interact with the school in any way, it's going to be something that it's moving.
Yeah. And I agree. I'm also just a fan. So I am blessed to be the principal and the leader of the community, but I'm really just a fan of this kind of education, this kind of perseverance, and the grit that the girls have to try every day. And I love watching families bloom, right? So I have children 0 and 2 and 1 and 2, and we have this program when we allow students to come back as graduates and enroll in our community childcare. So goodbye during graduation is not really goodbye, because we get to see the babies every day after they graduate, and that's so. And it's so fulfilling. It's fulfilling to watch. I know that when the mom was pregnant, I've known that baby since in utero, and now I know that child as a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old, and that's a truly. I feel really blessed to be part of that journey. So I appreciate you calling out the kind of heartstrings that can be pulled during the program, but it's also
again, it's not
celebrating.
Heartstrings for sadness. Like I say, it's just you're overwhelmingly proud of this person and what they and God, some of the stories of what they've had to overcome. It's I was reading or watching something, and it was talking about how the unseen unfair advantage of a kid who comes from money and a kid who doesn't.
Yeah.
And it was, not just the food insecurity, not just where am I going to live, but it was every single thing you do takes 3 times longer, more steps, more everything.
Yeah.
It just does, so to have to put up with that and to still come out successful, and then I couldn't believe you were telling me some of them, they have a job.
Full-time job. Yeah. Yeah. Oh. Last year, my graduating class, 33% of the graduates had full-time jobs, 35 hours or more at work. And then they did school, and then they were parents. I mean, it's just truly remarkable. And to be clear, I don't think it should be this hard. So I think that what they're experiencing is probably, it's a little bit of an apex of the hardest moment that they're going to hopefully be into, because they have to catch up and graduate alongside all of their fellow cohort in their age group. But we strive to create a program where they can look forward to a life that's a little bit less hard than what they arrive with. And that has to do with career planning and what, like you said, college placements, really looking and dreaming about a future a little bit bigger than maybe they dreamt about before they got here. And then helping with childcare. I mean, that's huge. Like helping just pay for those costs, and for knowing that your child's going to be in good hands with someone that absolutely adores them while you work really, really hard is, I mean,
Right.
it's a game changer for mom. As a working mom, I know the feeling. You know, when you
Sure.
trust where your children are, you can really put your energies towards the things that you need to.
Well, the healthcare is extremely important. Or not healthcare, but the child care.
Childcare, yeah.
And is that how? I mean, how would people pay or sign up to get into that?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you. So we are one of the largest affordable childcare centers in the county. And of the way that we can help families achieve those, that kind of help bridge the gap between income and the cost of childcare is
Mhm.
utilizing the Early Learning Coalition resources. So the Early Learning Coalition,
Right.
ELC, is there and ready to help working families who are working full time and under a certain income level, and they can receive vouchers for care. So I'm going to say 90% of my community childcare families receive vouchers. So they're paying a significantly reduced rate for childcare every day than they would anywhere else. So we're proud to be a provider for the community. And I know
Sure.
that I'm running one of the best childcare centers out there. So I know that this is quality care. I know that our teachers are amazingly qualified and they
Oh
really,
yeah,
really
and
care. And so that makes a big difference for families.
they've been one of my guests on Volusia Flagler Cares, and I
Yes.
got to have them on. I mean, that's a
ELC is amazing.
major.
Yeah.
They
They're
do
a
so
huge
much,
resource
but
for families.
again, we all start looking, and this is, you can't get political, but you can talk about law and reality.
Mhm.
And a lot of the legislation is going to directly affect the people that we deal with directly and tangentially
Mhm.
uh, in a major way. The funding is not going to be there like it used to be. So we are all going to have to learn where to make, where to find it.
Yeah.
and what can we do without, become a little more efficient, more streamlined, whatever that is. But uh not saying that that's a bad thing, but you know y- when you have a child and they're kids
Mhm.
who has physically and mentally said, you know what, I am going to do this, and they do it.
Yeah.
You can't jerk the rug out from these kids. You have to give them support. There's too many other idiots out there who have everything going for them and they don't even care.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah. No, yeah, we try to work really closely with the resources on the ground that are designed for like I said, bridging the gap, the income gaps for our working
Mhm.
families. And our high school students are no different. They're a little bit of a different legal status because they're considered teen parents under the Florida state constitution. Teen parents have an entitlement. They have an entitlement to an education, and they have an entitlement to childcare while they're getting their education. So they're a protected status and a protected class in the state of Florida. The state of Florida has one of the most aggressively protective constitutions around teen parent and teen pregnancy in the nation. So we are the beneficiary of a state who knows that this is a priority for the
Right.
administration. This is a priority for the state of Florida because we all know that when these 17 and 18 and 19-year-olds, when they actually get a diploma, then they have a much higher percentage and likelihood of becoming a taxpayer base for their community, right? Yeah.
And
It
that's
all
the
comes
thing.
back around.
That's the thing that I could never understand. It's almost like, so you want to be a hard ass business person? You're bottom line only. Let's talk bottom line. What type of a chance does this person have if you don't help them succeed?
Right.
None. And
Right.
then what happens? Oh, you got to pay money, whether it's in prison, whether it's this, whether it's that. It's going to cost you. So you pay either way, but it's a lot better,
Yeah.
to be a part of the solution than to be, just fighting against what is just, I would say common sense
Right.
that, we're all in this together.
Yeah, a rising tide lifts all boats, right? So
Exactly.
there's a safe. There should be some stitched together compact that we all agree on that having young women on the streets trying to nurse their babies is a bad idea. and that it's much better, right? That it's much better to try to bring that young woman into a place of safety and support so that she can get back on her feet. She can get things she needs to get in order to be as successful as possible. And then we can guarantee the safety and the well-being of the child. We're talking multi-generations here. There needs to be an interruption of multi-generational trauma, and poverty itself is a trauma. And so we're facing those big kind of forces every day, and we're working towards solutions on an individual basis, because to be honest, Kelly, that's how change happens. It happens on an individual basis. You change one person's life, one person's day,
Right.
and then it can grow from there.
Well, having been the lieutenant governor of the Kiwanis, I've seen it. I've witnessed, accomplishing something, and the the look on a child's face. Those are the things I keep coming back to. Then you just can't replace that. Whether it's the Miracle League, whether it's the Early Learning Coalition, whatever it is that, and the fundraisers that they have for, you can't. What do they say? It takes a village. Well, it takes more than that. You got to make a commitment.
Yeah.
You can't just participate. You got to be engaged.
You got to be engaged, and you got to be ready to be a community of support. So that phrase is built right into the mission of the Chiles Academy. We come together to create a community of support around this very vulnerable population, and we do it with intention, and we do it with commitment every single day, because we believe that the outcome is better for all, right? We're working towards a better outcome for all, including the ones standing by our school and making arms and making sure that it stays here, and that we still have access to these resources. That it takes all of us.
So when do you guys start with the football team?
I know, right? So we need a football team and boosters, and there's a lot we can do with our little school here. But I do want to mention that this is the centennial year of the Bonner Elementary School. So that's the physical space where we're located.
Nice.
And we think of ourselves as stewards of this very historic space. We're on the Black
You guys have put a lot of work and time and effort.
We put a lot of love into this space and this building, because we want to see it. We want to see it grow and bloom and be here for another 100 years. It's a vital piece of architecture for this community, and we take it really seriously. So we're celebrating 100 years, and we'll be kind of pushing into our homecoming carnival in the fall around the centennial, and trying to kind of.
Well, will people be able to do? Is there like a building fund? Is there?
Yeah, we're looking at capital campaigns now. There is, so the donations to the centennial can be done through the Bonner Chiles Foundation. So that's our charitable giving arm of the organization. That's where we receive our charitable gifts, and that's where we actually send out some charitable scholarships as well. So people can go to the BonnerChilesFoundation.org. There's also links to give on our Chiles Academy site, and that takes you to the foundation. But yeah, we're going to be doing a lot of planning and programming around the centennial, and want people to be aware of the meaning of this space. And it takes all of us. Like I said, we're not alone in this space. We do own the building now. We were lucky enough to purchase it from the district a couple years ago. But that was really a nominal way of keeping it under the into the neighborhood, and making sure that we're good neighbors, and that we keep it exactly the way it was.
Is it Katiana?
Miss Katina, yeah.
She was on last year, and we had a chance to talk, and that's a lady. I mean, she knows her numbers, and the proven success of your program. And I mean, not just, okay, it's just a little slight change, or, you move the needle just a little dipsy doodle. No, your guys, you have total backup of, you know what? We kick ass and we take names, and we just, we are it. We run our program. You work hard, but you get the rewards from it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we, one of the statistics that is often bandied about around teen pregnancy is that a student is 50% less likely to graduate once they're pregnant, or if they become a parenting teen. So we have a real impact on those numbers. So if the student starts with me, she might start in 9th grade, she might start in 11th grade, but her chances of graduation ratchet up to 75%. So we know that we're making an impact on that graduation rate, because once you've started at school at the Chiles Academy, you're much more likely to graduate, finish, complete, and go
Right.
on to something
Anywhere
else.
else, it would be the inverse.
Right.
It's like, oh, I'm sick of this.
Yeah, we really do. We surround them, and we try to help them meet the needs that were preventing them, right? So when a student is not getting their basic needs met, it's preventing you from thinking about anything from the future standpoint. So we try
Right.
to really assess what those needs are right away, and then we address that first, and then we kind of move into an academic discussion about what her future will look like and what she's interested in and what she's oriented towards, just like any other high school would. And we do that from a space of, you're a whole person. And not only now are you a high school student, but you're also a mom. And what do you need as a mom? And what are your generational plans? And what do you wish for your baby? So those
To
are
even
long-term
just think
conversations.
beyond, the next, what's happening this weekend. I mean,
Exactly.
that's, when I was in high school, that's all I thought about.
Yeah, and that's the adolescent brain, right? It's designed for immediate gratification. It hasn't really even fully developed yet. So we work within the realities of the fact that we're dealing with adolescents, but we also
Right.
understand that there's a deep core strength there. The minute they become parenting or pregnant, they're now tapping into a different part of themselves, and it's probably a part that's new to them. And we want to introduce, themselves to a new space where they can think about the future in a different way.
Well, what would be your national or your attendance average?
So daily attendance. So teen parents have historically really low attendance rate because of doctor's
Yes.
appointments and pregnancies. And if we take an average over the year, they're out a lot because of pregnancy related issues. So we really look at attendance as more of a long-term pattern. So if I have a student who was attending 3 days a week or 4 days a week even, and that dropped suddenly to I only see them once a week, then we kind of reactivate all of the resources that we know work to interrupt that attendance cycle. We involve our family care coordinator. We ask about resources being accessed. We talk about transportation needs, and then we fill them. We'll get them to school. We'll
Right.
get them a ride to school. Yeah. We'll make sure, is food insecurity part of why they're coming to school? And if it is, if they are food insecure and they're missing days, is there a way
Mhm.
for us to get them access to food? So we're talking to them about, yes, their attendance, and yes, we want to see them here every day, but we're also trying to address what might be stopping them from getting to school every day. And then we have that conversation.
Right. Now, we haven't, we've kind of just danced around it, but how much does it cost for somebody to go to your school?
$0. You mean how much does it cost to the student? Nothing. How much does it cost for us to educate a student?
No, I meant, so it's free. There's no,
No tuition. So we are a public charter school. So we're a public school the same way that Mainland High School is a public school, in the same way that Seabreeze High School is a public school. There's no tuition, there's no fees, there's no barriers to access. That's a tenet of the charter school movement, and that's a really important tenet of the Chiles Academy.
yours is a cooler school with a higher graduation rate.
Yeah, the only prerequisite of the students who come is that they have to be pregnant, or they have to be parenting in a capacity, a primary parent capacity. So those are the only two prerequisites that affect my lottery. But we are a really niche program, and we have really formalized and kind of created a whole set of intentions and resources around one particular student.
Have you documented, the steps of becoming the most successful charter school? Follow these simple steps.
Well, it's funny that you asked that, because I do present a lot at conferences. So the last couple of years, I've been putting together sessions, and I've been invited to sessions at youth and resiliency conferences, and social emotional learning conferences, dropout prevention conferences, because those are kind of like our people. That's our niche kind of market. But yeah, we do tell people what works really well for us. And I never put a session on where I don't have people walk out with a set of tools or strategies that can be scaled at their school or their organization, because
Right.
we know what works. We have 24 years of data on what works really well for vulnerable populations.
Well, and you have successful data, I mean, really, every time I have been there, the young ladies are polite. Everybody is just I mean, it's just a good feeling. I love you guys.
Well, that's so good to hear. We try to make the community that first feels safe. We take safety really seriously. So on one of our student surveys, one of the questions we always ask is, agree, yes or no, I feel safe at my school and my baby's safe at my school. And we've had 3 years in a row where it was 100%. 100% of the students responded, yes, I feel safe at my school. And this day and age, that is a major accomplishment. And it happens every day. It happens like what you're saying, the feeling when you walk in. You have a feeling of people who are joyful, of people who are welcoming, and people who are creating an environment where we can all feel safe to be here. And in today's modern high school, that is becoming more and more rare, unfortunately.
Well, now, if the school is free and they have a child, what would that cost them to have a child in your pre-K program?
That would be $0, Molly. So when a student is enrolled as a high school student who is considered a teen parent, they pay $0. They also enroll their baby with me in the school. So when their baby is enrolled as a student, that student is paid for also through the state funding from FEMA.
Nice.
So that's what I was mentioning about the constitutional entitlement for teen parents, is that they're entitled to daycare. So we are a daycare provider. We are a childcare provider here on site. So they don't pay for their child and they don't pay for themselves. That is a major advantage for the student to be able to clear the decks mentally and emotionally to just focus on school. So as long as she gets here, and as long as she gets here in time and gets her baby in the nursery, she goes right upstairs and then she goes right into her algebra class, or right into her English 2 class, or right into her test prep class, because all of those obstacles that would normally be in front of a working parent have been removed temporarily while she's working on her education. So it's a benefit for her to get focused.
Well, I would imagine that the numbers that you have, whether I was pregnant or not, I'm still trying to get in. But,
Yeah.
Well, now let me ask you this. If you are not a student, can you enroll in the childcare?
Yeah, so we serve community families. So if you are a working family let's just say you have 2 children and you're a working mom, if you're working 40 hours a week, then you're eligible for an ELC voucher, and they will do a calculation on what state payment that they can apply to your childcare fee. But we also accept everyone. So if you just toured our school and you thought that we were the perfect fit for your 2-year-old, and you didn't meet the income requirements of ELC and you could afford to self-pay, then you would just pay our regular childcare fee like anybody else would. We have a handful of working professionals in the area who have exceeded the income limit for ELC, but know that we're a really excellent childcare center. Both my children went here. Both my children went through the childcare center. And I would never allow any childcare room to stay open that I wouldn't put my own child in. And we're really proud of the service that we provide every day.
Now, you're currently enrolling for the summer semester. You guys do have a summer semester?
No, so we're currently enrolling for the summer community care. So we are we have lots of room in our 1-year-old room. We have a couple spots in our 3-year-old room. So I just want all the families to be aware that if your childcare needs are changing over the summer, or you're interested in kind of trying out a different center, summer is a really interesting time around here because our high school is not in session. So we're really just focused on all of our childcare and our childcare providers. So it's a little bit calmer. There's a lot of really fun activities. We have kind of a summer camp vibe, which I think is always a good time to try out a center. And then we're also enrolling for our pre-K program for the fall. So if you have a 4-year-old and you know that you want to get them into VPK, which is the Florida Voluntary Pre-K program, you can get a voucher regardless of income status. It has nothing to do with income. You just apply for a voucher through the state, and you get granted that voucher And then you just pick the center that you want. So we're enrolling now. We actually have 3 people on the list for the fall. So we fill up pretty fast because we have an amazing VPK program. So I wanted parents to be aware that we are a VPK provider. And then, as always, we're enrolling for August enrollment for the high school. So anyone who knows a pregnant or parenting, young woman or 16, 17, 18, we take students all the way up to the age of 22 because we can offer VPK or we can offer ESE services. So young women who might have been out of the school system for a while, who might have dropped out or, don't have a diploma and are currently parenting, she can enroll in my school. Anyone that might need our services, we enroll in the summer to get her ready to go for August.
Right. Well, I just could not imagine anybody who is faced with a pregnancy and is in that age group who would not be in touch with you. It just,
We hope so, because we never want them to go without resources. So we're always
right.
We're trying to kind of call out loud and clear that we're here and we're ready to help, because we never want any woman to not
Here's
have.
what you don't want. You don't want to keep perpetuating victimhood. And you guys are almost, the exact opposite. It's like, okay, got a problem,
Yeah.
let's deal with it. Let's figure out a plan and move forward, and again, instead of just blaming everybody and wanting this and wanting that. And, it's tremendous how you have the program that you have put together. I'm blown away.
Well, I appreciate that, Kelly. And so we know through the work we do with our population that underneath any sense of victimhood or being victimized is often trauma, is often abuse, is often the lack of kind of regard for them as living, breathing humans. So underneath that sensibility is really work that hasn't been done yet. We try to get at that for fear, that for trauma, and then find a sense of safety. And safety begets responsibility. So once I now feel safe enough to be in an environment where I can accept what has happened to me or what is happening to me, then I now feel ready to take on the responsibility to tackle it head on. But it's a process, and not everybody gets there right away. So we try to.
Well, and it even gets beyond that. It's just, I feel so comfortable. I can be goofy around my friends.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It goes.
I can be a kid again. Yes, I can be a kid again. There's so any events that we do once our school year gets underway, where for instance, we take them to we have a community pool across the street. And in a week or so, we're going to take the community pool and they get to splash around without babies. They get to splash around and just be kids again. And it's just such a great opportunity to kind of find joy and find play, because so much of their life is responsibility.
Yeah, because, otherwise it could just be, hey, accept your fate.
Right.
It's a drill. It's,
almost shameful. Yeah. And we don't.
Right. Instead of being able to, it'd be a wonderful, caring, sharing experience.
Yeah. And motherhood should be. And we believe in the rights of motherhood, that every mother has and deserves the right to go through that process for all of its highs and all of its lows. Everyone that's ever been a mom knows what that is like. And so it doesn't matter if you start at 14, it doesn't matter if you start at 35. You deserve to have the capacity and the respect as your journey goes through motherhood. And we believe that, and we start right away. As soon as they get here, we respect them as mothers, and we talk about how they want to move forward.
Well, it's a wonderful, wonderful program that you have, tremendous organization. Obviously, the obstacles you've overcome. It's a true testament, Abby, to the determined resourcefulness.
That's right.
So I want to thank you for sharing, the mission, and please get back to us. Let us know. We'll have you back on again. It's, we always will. And we're going to put your QR code so that the audience can know where to directly donate.
Yeah.
And then we'll also have the link for volunteering.
Wonderful.
So
That's
Abby,
wonderful.
thank you so much for being our guest today. And that wraps up another excellent edition of Volusia Flagler Cares. We appreciate you watching and hope you'll join us most Friday afternoons to see what's happening in Volusia and Flagler County, find out which organizations need help, and learn how you can help them. We'll see you next week. Goodbye, and be nice to each other.